Ladies and gentlemen, if you can't stop thinking about him, it's not because you're weak. It's because your mind is trying to tell you something. It's not love you're holding on to. It's the version of you that forgot her worth while waiting to be chosen. The sleepless nights, the constant replay of memories. They're not about him. They're about you finally waking up to your power. This isn't about getting him back. This is about getting yourself back. And once you do, you'll never beg to be remembered. You'll be impossible to forget. There's a reason he keeps living in your mind. It's not because you're stuck. And it's definitely not because you're weak. It's because you felt something real, something powerful. When you gave your heart, you didn't hold back. You weren't calculating your emotions or protecting yourself with half effort. You went all in. That kind of love leaves fingerprints on your soul. It's not something you can wash away overnight. And your mind isn't betraying you by remembering. It's honoring what once mattered to you. People often mistake emotional strength with indifference. But true strength isn't about forgetting easily. It's about feeling everything and still choosing to rise. When you replay memories or wonder what could have been, your mind is processing, not punishing you. It's trying to make sense of something your heart didn't expect to lose. You invested time, energy, and belief in something that didn't last. So of course, it's hard to forget. You're not clinging to pain. You're coming to terms with the depth of your experience. Sometimes we shame ourselves for still thinking about someone who hurt us or left us. But your thoughts don't mean you want them back. They mean you're human. They mean your heart loved without conditions. And your soul is still sorting through the impact of that love. The mind doesn't operate on a schedule. It doesn't just erase people because you know they're not good for you. Healing is complex, layered, and deeply personal. It's not a straight path. It's a spiral. And every loop brings you closer to clarity. You see, we live in a world that glorifies moving on quickly. But what if the real power lies in allowing yourself to feel, to sit in the discomfort without numbing it, to let the pain teach you instead of trying to erase it? The fact that you still think of him doesn't mean you're stuck in the past. It means there was something inside, that connection you haven't yet learned from. And that's okay. It's not weakness. It's awareness. It's the beginning of wisdom. You're not broken because your mind keeps returning to a chapter that ended. You're simply being reminded of the pages you turned with your whole heart. That kind of emotional investment doesn't vanish because time passes. It lingers. And sometimes it haunts. But it also refines. It softens. It awakens you to parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Love, especially when it's real, transforms you. And even in its absence, it teaches you who you are when nothing is certain. You might feel like you're supposed to be further along by now. You might think, why can't I just forget him? But the truth is, your mind is holding on because it's still unraveling the meaning behind what you felt. It's still translating pain into growth. It's still trying to protect you from repeating a lesson. Don't confuse this mental noise with failure. It's part of your evolution, part of becoming someone who knows her worth down to her bones. It's easy to think you'd be stronger if he never crossed your mind again. But silence isn't the only measure of strength. Sometimes, strength looks like crying when you need to. Like remembering and still choosing not to go back. Like staying kind even after being hurt. Like knowing your heart is still healing and not rushing the process. Your thoughts are not a sign of weakness. They're echoes of something meaningful that changed you forever. When you loved deeply, you formed emotional pathways. Your mind carved spaces where that connection lived. And even after it's over, those spaces still exist. That's not dysfunction. That's biology and memory at work. You're not failing because you still feel. You're succeeding in becoming someone who honors her journey. Someone who can look at her past and say, I gave everything. I grew from this. That's dignity. That's strength. That's grace in motion. There will come a day when these thoughts will fade. Not because you forced them out, but because you've evolved beyond the need to revisit them. The intensity will lessen. The weight will lift. You'll think of him less and of yourself more. You will make peace with what happened and who you became because of it. Until then, be patient with yourself. Your mind is not your enemy. It's walking you through the fire to reach your own light on the other side. Letting go is not about pretending you never cared. It's about realizing that your love was real, even if he didn't value it. It's about choosing to carry forward the lessons, not the baggage. If you can't forget him, maybe it's because there's a part of you that needed to remember what loving deeply feels like. Not to repeat it, but to refine it. So when love finds you again, it meets a heart that's wiser, not harder. Your mind isn't holding you back. It's preparing you to rise. When someone leaves you without answers, your mind doesn't just let it go. It tries to fill in the gaps, replaying every conversation, every silence, every change in tone. You ask yourself 100 questions. What did I miss? What could I have done differently? Why did it end without explanation? This is an obsession. This is the brain desperately seeking closure. It craves understanding because the story feels unfinished. When someone walks out without giving you clarity, your thoughts begin writing stories of their own. Some rooted in truth, others in self-blame. That loop you can't turn off. It's your mind looking for peace in a sea of confusion. It's easy for others to say, just move on, but the absence of closure is a form of emotional theft. When people vanish or shut down instead of communicating, they rob you of the dignity to process things clearly. And when dignity is taken, the mind holds on even tighter. You're not weak for replaying old scenes. You're not foolish for wanting to understand. It's your brain trying to find balance between what happened and what should have happened. You wanted honesty. You wanted a clean ending. What you got instead was silence. And silence is heavy. People often confuse missing someone with wanting them back, but more often than not, it's not the person you miss. It's the sense of resolution that never came. You long for the final chapter that was never written, the proper goodbye, the respectful explanation. Your mind replays things not because you're stuck in the past, but because it doesn't like puzzles with missing pieces. Closure is what frees us. Without it, the mind keeps scanning the memory like a broken record, hoping for a song that never plays. You gave your trust, your time, your energy to someone. That investment deserves acknowledgement. But when they walk away without answers, it leaves you doubting the entire experience. You begin to question if any of it was real. And that doubt is what your mind is really fighting. Not the loss itself, but the lack of meaning in how it ended. Closure brings peace because it validates your experience. Without it, your mind is left wrestling with shadows and trying to find light in a room someone else turned dark. When someone leaves without giving closure, the pain lingers longer than it should. Not because you can't handle heartbreak, but because your emotional story was interrupted. Imagine reading a novel and the last few pages were ripped out. Would you forget it easily? Would you stop thinking about it? No, you'd wonder. You'd imagine different endings. you'd crave resolution. That's what your mind is doing. It's trying to finish the story. It's trying to turn the last page, even if it has to write it on its own. You don't need the other person to come back and explain everything. That's the hard truth. You don't need their words to validate your emotions. What you need is to realize that closure can be something you create. Is the understanding that not all people are capable of giving you the respect you deserved. Is the acceptance that your peace does not depend on their apology. You have the power to end that chapter yourself. Not because they gave you closure, but because you finally gave it to yourself. Creating your own closure means shifting focus. It means accepting that you may never get the answers you want, but you can still find meaning in the experience. Maybe you learned what kind of love you will never accept again. Maybe you discovered your ability to survive emotional chaos. Maybe you finally saw the red flags you once ignored. That knowledge is the gift. That wisdom is the real ending to the story. It's not about them anymore. It's about what you walk away with. Closure doesn't always come with conversations. Sometimes it comes in silence. In finally choosing to stop chasing explanation, in no longer giving your energy to someone who didn't value it. Your mind is a powerful tool, and it wants to protect you, but to do that you have to help it move on. You have to tell it, this story is over. I may not understand every detail, but I understand enough to let go. That's when healing begins. That's when peace finds you. You deserve emotional clarity. You deserve endings that make sense. But when that isn't given, you must rise and give it to yourself. That means no more rereading texts, no more reimagining conversations, no more digging for hidden meanings in things that are already done. You rewrite the ending with your actions, with your choice to move forward, not backward, with your refusal to let someone else's silence become your suffering. That's how you win. That's how you find closure. In the end, your mind isn't your enemy. It's just trying to protect you from a story that ended badly. But it's your job now to give it peace. Not by getting answers, but by accepting the ones you already know. You were honest. You were present. You gave your best. That's your truth. That's your closure. Let that be enough. And with that truth, walk forward. Not with resentment, but with the quiet strength of someone who chose to heal, even when they were left without a goodbye. Thinking about someone in silence doesn't mean you're waiting. It means you're awakening. There's a powerful difference between holding on and waking up to what a connection taught you. The quiet presence of someone in your mind often signals emotional growth, not emotional dependence. You're not stuck. You're becoming conscious of the parts of yourself that need attention. In their absence, you're learning how to sit with your own heart without distraction. Every memory, every unanswered question, every moment of silence is part of a personal evolution. You begin to understand your patterns, your needs, and your hidden fears. It's not about getting them back. It's about reclaiming your own emotional truth. This is where growth begins, in the realization that you're not the same person anymore. You're transforming, even in the quiet. The thoughts that return uninvited are not here to torment you. They are here to awaken you. They ask you to look deeper into why that connection meant so much. Was it love? Or was it something you lacked within yourself that they made you feel? Was it their presence? Or the version of you that existed with them that you miss? These questions don't always have easy answers, but they are necessary. Because growth often begins with discomfort. The thoughts will keep surfacing until you've honored the lesson they came to deliver. Avoiding them only prolongs the pain. Facing them gives you clarity. This is not about obsession. It's about awareness. Awareness that you are finally listening to your inner self. You might feel like you're waiting, but you're actually being prepared. Prepared to rise into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Pain has a strange way of revealing what we've outgrown. Silence creates space. And in that space, your soul begins to ask better questions. Satoma. And Satoma, the space. And in that space,